Okay, now, debate is I mentioned it earlier as a mode of oral argumentation. We are going to stage a debate between two opposing points of view, of course, two characters. That's a theatrical presentation. It'll take us a moment to get made up here. And it'll be clear to you, I think, where the 2 points of view do not meet. There's one, and there's the other.
I am the spirit of Kongzi, which did not die in 479 BCE. Though I grew up poor and was never employed by the states around me, I devoted my life to self-cultivation and teaching sound principles to my disciples. Then, later on, various emperors and others co-opted my thinking to serve their own ends.
I am Socrates, here in spirit. My body died, it is true, in 399. I was only, as you see, 70 years old. But we believe the spirit never dies, so I come back to tell you that in the last years of my life, Athens was fighting a losing battle against Sparta. People wanted to return to the old ways. They were afraid. They said the gods were angry, but I insisted that they seek to learn to think courageously, to find the truth. For this, at age 70, I was condemned to death.
At 15, I made up my mind to study. At 30, I was established. At 40, I was no longer perplexed. At 50, I understood the will of heaven. At 60, I listened to everything without being unhappy. At 70, I followed all my desires, and none of them were against the norms. You would be well advised to do likewise.
Oh, Kongzi, this is the wrong model. Did you hear the complacency in his voice? Oi, 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 Kongzi. One doesn't learn through mere experience, even one such as yours. What is experience? But what one lives. You have to think. One must learn from hard thinking. And one cannot think clearly unless one is willing to question everything, not set yourself up as some model. How else can one begin to search for the truth? The truth is unchanging, not one to be found in the shifting values of experience.
We know what allows a person to live a constructive life, to contribute to the community. Every day, act so that your behavior lives up to your role. Superiors take responsibility for inferiors. Inferiors must follow. Otherwise, chaos looms. The Duke of Zhou exemplified it centuries ago.
The Duke of Zhou? How can you keep citing that old anachronism as a model? He's history. He's extinct, just like the dinosaurs. History is not a good model because it always changes, my friend. What about that is above and behind history? Something which is unchanging, eternal, and hence certain. Did Kongzi ever question himself? I ask you. An unexamined life is not worth living.
To give oneself up to the study of metaphysical theories, that is harmful indeed. What matters most is xiao, the central value in families and the larger community. When children respect their parents, wives respect husbands, younger siblings respect their elders, and administrators respect top leaders, then peace and prosperity result.
Well, we clearly are on different tracks. Let's look at your family models. Let's take the one you give yourself that says it's okay for a son to protect his father who's stolen the sheep by lying. That is a crime against truth. Does such practice lead to social harmony, I ask you? By disregarding your duty to truth here, aren't you teaching a principle that risks corruption of all kinds?
Socrates, if everyone followed your model, there would be no social harmony. Sons would feel free to rebel against their fathers, wives against husbands. Without respect for superiors, no community can survive for long because it will fall into dissension and chaos.
So we're about to take a break, but let's spell out the moral. Is there a winner? Not really, no. They are so different in their perspectives and where they're coming from and where they're going that we see difference and we don't see any ground for them to easily agree with each other. So comparatists, that's all of us in this room right now, people who are into comparing cultures, we meet in what we're called now a third space. It's neither China nor the West, it's in between, and that's a very precious space because it's non-judgmental. It is a space between cultures in which we can contemplate this possibility and that possibility because we don't have to judge them. We can let them be as they are so we can understand them better. And more precisely, we can think back and forth between one world and the other. And it's part of an educational process. That's not a training process, right? An educational process.